When I first heard that at Sony's press conference, I was like, this sound actually tight. Like, let me nod to this one. But enough with the music real quick though. It's now time to announce what Sony announced at their press conference, and it's a lot. So let's get into it. First and foremost, outside of that outro song, then they played like a bunch of other songs, and their intro basically took too damn long. Then we get into the press conference where dude kept talking about the PS3 and the Vita. Not a good start. And then we get to some games for the PS3. The Last of Us. We already know about that game. Beyond Two Souls. Gran Turismo 6. Batman Arkham Origins. And Grand Theft Auto 5, where they announced there's going to be a bundle. A Grand Theft Auto 5 bundle with the PS3 for $300. And then some dude from Sony Pictures came out and started talking about, you know, projects or whatever. Not project, but just start talking. Period. And I'm like, bruh, get to the PS4 stuff already. And the only reason why I'm not asleep is because this is Monday night. Monday Night Raw was on, so that kept me entertained. And then we get to the PS4. Finally, they revealed the system as I expected them to do. And the design looks sick. It's like a italic comparison to the Xbox One, which is more bold. If this was font, the Xbox One system is bolded, and the PS4 system is italic. I'm dead serious. There's a picture that compares the two like that. And then they got to the games. The Order, okay. And then the usual games we've seen already. Killzone, Shadowfall, Dry Club, Infamous Second Son, and Knack. And then they played some unusual video. I'm not even going to get into that one. And then they showed us Transistor, another new game, and that looks pretty cool. Then we get to the indie games where they basically announced like a bunch of games and companies, you know, that was working on the indie games or whatever. And showing us the gameplays of them. And then they got to Diablo 3, talked about Diablo 3, going to be on the PS3 and the PS4, again, something that we already know. And at this point, it's like, Sony, y'all messing up already, man. You know, I didn't see Microsoft press conference before this one because I was at work, which is another thing Microsoft kept pissing me off with. But anywho, I'm like, Sony, y'all are falling backwards and backwards and backwards with all this nonsense. Then all of a sudden, they said, here's a message from Square Enix. And I'm like, okay, now we're talking. And we get towards the guy who is in charge of character development, not in charge of character development, but is a part of character development of Final Fantasy Versus 13. And I'm like, is this what I think it is? Is they gonna announce that game? And truth to be told, they did. Yes, Final Fantasy Versus 13. So they showed gameplay of it, and I'm like, yes! And now I'm like, yes! It's finally some hope, because the theory, not the theory, but the actual fact is, once Final Fantasy Versus 13 is out the way, then this cat who is working on character development, who also happens to be the director of Kingdom Hearts, he can work on Kingdom Hearts 3 once Final Fantasy Versus 13 is out the way. So, then, at the end of the trailer, the name changed, which was a rumor that was started by some fashion designer who was associated with Square Enix, but then he took the rumor back. But nope, that rumor is actually true. Final Fantasy Versus 13 is now Final Fantasy 15. So yes, that's the new Final Fantasy right there. And then I'm thinking, yes, okay, now you know they got my attention. But then dude stayed on the screen talking about something, and he said the following words, quote by quote: "We have one more trailer for you. This is a short teaser announcing an upcoming title." Now, of course, he said all this in Japanese, so this is all translated. And I'm like, what? I'm sitting like, what? Like, let's see, what? Another Final Fantasy game? Is this Final Fantasy 14? And then they showed the www.esrb.org logo thing, and I'm like, no, this ain't Final Fantasy. And then they showed the Disney logo, and I'm like, okay, wait. Either this is Kingdom Hearts 1.5, since they're going to show us gameplay of that at E3, or this might be 2.5. Then my attention will really be grabbed. But then, they actually showed the trailer. They actually showed, you know, the previous all the Kingdom Hearts games from 1 all the way up to Kingdom Hearts 3D. And then they showed Sora at Destiny Island on the beach, and he finds a brand new Keyblade, and my jaw dropped when I saw that brand new Keyblade, because that Keyblade was not in any of the previous Kingdom Hearts games. And I'm like, this can't be what I think this is. And then when that logo pops up, and it said Kingdom Hearts 3, I lost my damn mind. I went ballistic. You had no idea how fanboying I was when I saw that. I was freaking out. And for the second time in my life, a video game got me to a point where my body could not function. Remember, going back to my, this is like, which one was it? Modern Warfare 3 video, where I mentioned the top 100 video games, and I forgot who did it. I think it was IGN, I forgot who. But they had Mortal Kombat damn near the bottom of the list, and my body couldn't function because of that. Atrocity and that ridiculous list. That's the only time when a video game or something video game related made my body malfunction in a negative impact. This was the opposite. My body couldn't function based off of a positive impact. Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced. Not only that, they showed us gameplay. They showed us gameplay. Even though the gameplay lasted for like 50 seconds, I don't care. They showed us gameplay. And at the end of it all, they said game in development. I don't care. They showed us gameplay. They showed us Kingdom Hearts 3. It's legit. And I was tripping out the whole night. Like, I was having a hard time functioning for that whole night and at some parts of the next day. Like, I was wide awake at work. That's all was on my mind. Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3. When I got home Tuesday, Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3. I kept rewatching the trailer to see if that was legit. And it was. And I was just fooling. And I'm like, and at this point, the quote of the night was, "It's over." I kept saying that over and over and over again. I just kept saying it. It's over. It's over. It's over. You know. Saying it's over because it's Kingdom Hearts 3, and 2, Sony just killed Microsoft. But I heard some news later on that Kingdom Hearts 3 was not PS4 exclusive. It's also going to be on the Xbox One. Same with Final Fantasy 15. I gotta call it that now. That's also going to be on the Xbox 360. But it's still over. Why? I'll explain later. Then they announced Final Fantasy 14, which will be on the PS3 and the PS4. That online game that was on the PC that flopped, they still bringing it to the PS3 and PS4, so hopefully it would be better than what it was on the PC. I never played it on the PC, but I heard it was downright awful. Then, of course, they presented us with games like Assassin's Creed 4 and Watch Dogs, and we finally got but we finally got a look at NBA 2K14. How they made LeBron James' mouth kind of creeps me out. And then they came up with Elder Scrolls Online, which a lot of people are apparently excited for. I'm not really much of an Elder Scrolls fan. I think Elder Scrolls is overrated. Don't kill me. But that's just how I am. And then they announced Mad Max. Now we get to the actual system. The PS4 will support used games. The crowd just went ballistic. Also, you can trade in PS4 games. You can sell it. You can lend it to a friend or you can keep it yourself. So the crowd went ballistic again, and there was a Sony chant. The crowd was chanting Sony over again. And then they not done. You don't need to be collected online to play. The fans went ballistic again. And then single player games don't require you to check in online. Fans went ballistic again. Like I said, it won't require you to check in online. Your game won't stop working if you're not authentic. If the game is not authentic within 24 hours. And again, the crowd went ballistic. So what this means is basically, with the Xbox One, you're always connected online. And you're going to come with the Kinect. So the Kinect will constantly keep an eye on you. You got to check in with Microsoft through online in order for you to play your game and stuff like that. It don't support used games. So meaning you can't trade it in. You can't sell it. Otherwise, you got to pay an authentic code to play it or whatever. Especially if it's used or whatever. And all that stuff. PS4, nah, screw that. We ain't messing with that. You know, so the whole crowd went ballistic. Then they talk about the PSN. So basically, you can play games as you download. Play games as downloads are going on, I should say. You can cross-game voice chat. Then there's a transition to a real-world friends network. So what that means is, let's say, I know my boy Steve, we both got the PS4, but I belong to a network that involves FD Chick, Larry Jungo, iCloud, and Skullguard Gamer. Whereas my boy Steve, he's involved in a network that involves Chris Smooth, Miss 5000, Rise, J Nug, and Minor War Negro. So if we both online at the same time, I can leave my network temporarily or whatever and jump on his network and play with his people and vice versa. So that's kind of cool. And then current PSP Plus members can carry over to the PS4. And it will be less than $5 a month. And basically the stuff that comes with PSP now would be in it, except you'll get immersive multiplayer online on the PS4. And then of course they ended it with Destiny. So, oh, and one more thing, the PlayStation 4 will cost $400, $100 less than the Xbox One. And of course the fans went ballistic. So there you have it. That's Sony's press conference. Again, if you want to see it, the link is in the description box below. The tables of contents is on the top somewhere, top left or top right corner. I don't know which one. So with that said, hopefully you'll hear from me again in a few seconds or in a few minutes. Deuces.